I find social media so exhausting. And the irony is that I've worked in social media since like 2017, and I find it more exhausting by the year. Especially these days, I feel like a business feels like it needs to have some strong, some iconic social media marketing strategy just to exist. And the sad reality is that there's a level of truth to that. I mean, we're watching the rise and fall of small businesses because some of these small businesses are rising because their social media strategy is excellent. They have a good product, they have a good content strategy. But then we're also seeing the fall of these mom and pop shops that have been around forever that are being eclipsed by large corporations or smaller businesses that are just doing it better. So I'm a social media manager. I've been a social media manager for quite a long time. And when it comes to building a social media strategy for a company, I feel like it gets very blown out of proportion. Not all of us are going to be Duolingos, right? Not all of us are going to be TSA. You should follow them on Threads, Duolingo and TSA, by the way. Very good strategy. But that's what I'm saying. That's the point, is we're not all going to be those things. So how do we build a simple, normal, strong social media strategy for small business? Today, I want to have just a cozy chat. I'm wearing my pajamas. I made a coffee. Cozy chat, we're just going to talk about how to build a simple social media strategy for your business. When we talk about this, I just want to be clear that I want you to not overthink this. And I think that's the problem, is when people sit down to create a social media strategy or like start creating content for their business, they overthink it so badly. My challenge to people and to myself, this applies to me too, is to just strip away all those layers and just create simple, good, authentic content. Okay, so the very first thing I would recommend doing is think about your ideal client. This is a step I feel like so many people skip, but what's the point of creating content, of being on social media, if you don't even know who you're talking to, right? So the way that I usually do it, or the exercise that I will walk social media managers through, is think about your perfect customer in front of you. So let's say you work at a coffee shop and your perfect ideal customer comes in, orders a coffee. Tell me about this person. Is it a man? Is it a woman? How old are they? What are they ordering? What's their price point? Do they have a dog? Do they like cats? What do they drive? Literally just think about who that person is. Get really specific, because what I usually do is I think of my specific ideal customer and I create all my content for them. I think that if you work at a company where there are multiple different customer types, I would create multiple different customer profiles. Again, people overthink this part as well. Well, my customer could be anybody. No, it couldn't. I can guarantee you that it can't. So think of your favorite customer. Literally think of them, imagine them in your head. And if you're a new business and don't have customers yet, think of who your ideal customer really would be. Literally think of them as a person standing in front of you and describe them to me. Really build out what their life looks like, because your business will not be successful if you just sell a general product to everybody. And that's a hot take, but it's what I'm saying. When you pick your social media platforms, I want you to pick one long form platform and one short form platform. And long form and short form platforms are exactly as they sound. Long form content would be things like an email newsletter, a blog, a YouTube video, just things that are long. A short form platform would be a short form video platform like TikTok, a place that does posts like Instagram, Threads, X, LinkedIn. These are all short form social media platforms. So pick one long form and one short form. If you're struggling with choosing your platforms, the reason why we think about our ideal client or customer before we do these next steps is to have that person in mind when you think about all the following steps. So you have your ideal customer or client in mind. Now think about what social media channels they were on. So let's do the coffee shop example again. So let's say your ideal customer comes in, orders a cup of coffee from you, and you own a coffee shop. Let's say that they are a young person in their 20s, man or a woman. They have a boyfriend, girlfriend, they're probably not married yet, and they really like TikTok, but they also appreciate long form content as well, so they like Substack. So you would probably pick TikTok and Substack. That's just an example. I would definitely recommend one long form platform and one short form platform because they each have their advantages. A long form platform, even though it does take more time and it is definitely more of a slow burn situation, it builds significantly more authority. Think of a YouTuber versus an Instagrammer. A YouTuber typically makes more money and has a larger reputation than an Instagrammer. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, the advantage of a short form platform, though, is really reach. You're able to reach more people with shorter bits of content. And when you're a young business or when you're a new social media manager, reach is going to be the name of the game right away. So, for example, I would maybe focus on doing like 1 or 2 YouTube videos a month, but posting 2 or 3 times a week on a short form platform. So just pick one long form, one short form, and you'll be good. Okay, so you have your ideal customer in mind. Now you know where you're going to post content, but what exactly is the goal? Why are we doing this? What's the point? People also skip this a lot. They just post to post, and for what? So there are multiple different goals you can have with social media. For some people, it's just get clients. They want to find clients or leads. That is perfectly great. I use social media to find leads all the time. For some companies, it's to build a brand. I worked with a meal delivery service in Seattle last year, and most of their customers came from Google Ads. And so they wanted to use social media to build a brand. So that is also a very valid reason to use social media. Some people want to become an authority in their niche. I worked with a piercing studio about 2 years ago that wanted to become a voice in the piercing community in the United States. So think about, what is your goal for social media? Is it to get customers? Is it to build a brand? Is it to establish your name in the community? Write it down. You might have 2 goals. I would really try to just pick one though. Okay, so you've thought about your ideal client. You know where you're going to post content. You know why you're posting content. You picked your goal. So now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of content creation and identify what we're even going to talk about. So in social media management, we would call this content themes, content buckets, content pillars, but basically it's going to be several different topics that all of our content is created around. So for example, let's say that you own that coffee shop we were talking about earlier. Now, you want to create content that really resonates with the local community. Your goal is to get more customers through the door and establish your name in the community. So you might post local content. So it might be you doing like shared social media posts with other local businesses. You might create your own posts about local businesses. That could be one topic. A second topic could be quality of coffee. Maybe your coffee shop roasts its own beans or really prides itself on having a very specific high level of coffee. So you create content around that quality. Maybe your third topic is that you create all of your own flavors in-house. So maybe you create your own caramel syrup. Maybe you create a weekly syrup. You use all of your own ingredients. You create or craft your own ingredients. That could be a theme as well. This is another area where I think people really overthink it and say, oh, like it needs to speak to this person or it needs to have this viewpoint. I would say strip all those things away and just pick 3 themes. Again, this is a simple social media strategy. Just pick 3 different things you'd like to talk about. So you might feel like these content topics or themes really box you in to doing one type of thing. And that's where picking topics that you can do a lot with really comes in. So for example, we just talked about quality of coffee, right? So I could see creating a post or a Substack about each of the different beans that you use and why you use those beans and how it affects a cup of coffee and how that customer can get coffee or try it in your shop right now. Let's say you post on TikTok and you want to talk about how you make all of your flavors in-house. You can create a video every week where you walk customers through the ideation phase behind deciding which syrups to use, then making the syrups, then creating a latte with the syrups, and then sliding it towards the camera so someone can come and order it that very next day. These topics are just anchors. They're just anchors so that you know what to create every single week. Don't overthink it, but think of topics that are really going to relate and resonate with your community and relate to your business. Next, we're going to talk about the type of content that you should create. So this is pretty easy because it relates back to the social media platforms that you pick. Each social media platform specializes in a certain type of content. So I mentioned Substack, and Substack is basically like a newsletter, blogging sort of platform. It's just long form written text, right? So that's what you're going to do. Long form written text, you might be able to insert a photo, but for the most part, that's going to be writing. If you're creating TikTok content, it's going to be short form video content. So videos that are anywhere from like 10 seconds to a couple of minutes, right? On Instagram, we have photos, videos, but also carousels and Instagram stories. So that might be really photo focused content with videos thrown in there as well. So the final part of your simple social media strategy is to determine how you're going to measure success. I feel like this step really differentiates someone who is maybe a content creator with a business's social media strategy. That's no shade to content creator. I'm just saying is they're two different things. A business needs to invest time and money into things that benefit the business. And so if you're spending time and money, if you are a staff member, you are paid to do this, you need to show that social media is working in some way, shape, or form. Now, I will say is that social media marketing, whether you're long form or short form, it takes time, and so it's not going to be like an immediate payoff, but there will eventually be a payoff, and you need to measure whether or not that payoff is worth it or not. So how do you measure success if you are a social media manager? It's by connecting your goal with a number. So earlier we talked about choosing your goal. So let's say you worked at that coffee shop and your goal is to literally get customers through the door and to buy a cup of coffee. We would maybe also call this getting leads. Well, then you're going to measure success by external link taps. How many people are tapping on your account and going to, say, maybe your Google Maps to look at your location? Maybe they're tapping on the menu you have in your bio to go look at stuff. That is how we're going to measure whether or not we're successful. So at the end of every month, you sit down and say, okay, in January, 25 people clicked on the link in our bio. That means 25 people wanted to leave that social media platform and learn more about our business. 25 people isn't that much. So I'm going to tweak some things. Maybe I'm going to post a few more videos. Maybe I'm going to invest a little bit more time in creating higher quality content. Now, fast forward to April, 75 people have clicked on the external link in our bio. Now we have numbers to attach to our social media strategy. That means our social media strategy worked. That means that people are responding to higher quality content. People are responding to more videos. This is what I mean by measuring success. You need to connect your goal with a number. If you don't follow me on Threads, you should follow me on Threads because I love it over there. But I just posted kind of like a little cheat sheet that explains what numbers connect to what goals. So let's see here. Okay, here we go. So if your company's goal is engagement or building a community, then you should really focus on comments and shares. So that's like people commenting on your post wanting to interact with you because those are community building activities. If your company's goal is lead generation, like what we just talked about, external link taps, people tapping at the link in your bio and leaving that social media platform to learn more about you, that's vital, vital information. But also inquiries in your DMs and comments as well are a very good indicator that people want to learn more about your business and become a customer. If your company's goal is brand recognition or establishing yourself in the community, then I would say look at your mentions and look at your reach. See how far are you reaching? Are you reaching a large number of people in your area? And are people mentioning your business? If you're a coffee shop, are people tagging you in Instagram stories? Are people tagging you in their TikTok videos? These are all important things to measure to know how successful your social media strategy is. Okay, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you would like more cozy, simple social media management content. If you are a new social media manager and you're just feeling a little bit lost in the job, I am now offering one-on-one social media management training for you new social media managers. It's called the Crumb Consultation Call. Go ahead, look at the link in my bio. I have a wait list. I would love to have a one-on-one meeting with you. You can learn a little bit more about that there, but otherwise I'll see you next week.